Hey everyone, Jeff, your executive gardener. Thanks for joining me. This video is long overdue. This is about growing tomatoes indoors. I did a video several months ago, and I started these in this AeroGarden. It's a 7-pod AeroGarden, and I put 2 varieties of cherry tomatoes in. I think there's 4 pods in there. I didn't use all 7 pods because the root system gets pretty big for tomatoes and they grow all over the place, as you'll see, and I didn't want the roots to choke each other out and so forth and so on. So this is grown in a very spare room where I have my water heaters and so forth in the house. So what you're seeing here is the AeroGarden. So the AeroGarden, it's not inexpensive. So it's going to cost you, I think, $170 to $200 depending on where you get it. And there's several different varieties. Having said that, it does have a reservoir on the bottom. I've showed you before. It's got a timer, so you can kind of set and go, let it do its own thing. You can grow everything from tomatoes, herbs, a number of different things. So with this setup, it's timed. It automatically has it go on and off all day. It automatically irrigates itself, and there's a reservoir on the bottom where you put your nutrients. And basically at this size of a tomato, these cherry tomatoes, it's pretty much every day that I'm filling it up because they drink a lot and they take a lot of nutrients. So underneath here, as you'll see, it's got a light. I also supplement that with this light and another light there, and I keep those on 10-12 hours a day. So I'm going to move this away so you can see a little bit better. And so let me be clear, this is not going to be an inexpensive solution, okay? It does cost a little money. The AeroGarden you can use time and time again, but you can grow things conveniently and you can maximize production. So when a lot of folks say, I'd love the garden, but I'm away a lot, or I don't have the time, or I don't have the yard, this provides that for you if you want to spend a little money, okay? And you can use it time and time and time again. So as you'll see here, this thing is one of the advantages of growing in this AeroGarden. It's the first time I've done it, is it's absolutely loaded with tomatoes. So let me get in closer. As you can see underneath there, we've got several red ones there, several red ones there. But every flower, and it's hard to see here, but let me see if I can get a close up here underneath. Every flower from the tomato has been pollinated, okay? Every flower. So it's just maximum production. And I'll lift up under here. You can see more, just tons of tomatoes. This thing, as it is right now, probably has 50 tomatoes on it, and it's continuing to grow. So here's what you want to do once you get this thing set up. So obviously, as you know, with flowers, tomato flowers, they self-pollinate themselves, okay? But you do need something because you don't have bees and you don't have butterflies to pollinate it. So, or wind, right? So you just take it, you get a simple electronic toothbrush, okay? And then you go to the back of the flower, you turn your toothbrush on, it's a vibration, like almost like a bee. You hold it to the back of the flower, that's it. And it shakes the pollen, you'll see it there. And that's all you do. You go to every flower and you just, again, put the vibrating part of the toothbrush on the back of the flower, and that is it. And it shakes up the pollen, it pollinates, and it maximizes every flower. I mean, every flower turning into a tomato. So as you can see, as far as the eye can see, even though I have several that are ripe and several that will be ripe, there's so many buds, flowers that will turn to tomatoes. This small plant will probably give me 150, 200 tomatoes. And as long as you keep putting, they're determinate, so they'll only go so long, but as long as you keep putting a nutrient solution, you'll be in good shape. So a few other things I wanted to touch on. So one of the other things which I think is really important, and the nice thing about this AeroGarden is that this lifts up and down 3 feet, so the plant can grow. But the plant does get heavy, so as you can see, all around. I do have it kind of falling all over the place. Excuse my dog. My dog is sneezing in the background, but it's falling all over the place. But as you pick the red tomatoes, others that will give energy in the plant. Now, what you want to do and what I do is I take these scissors, and several of the leaves aren't going to produce flowers. And what I do is I cut them off and allow more of the energy to go to flowering and to fruit. So you'll see it's kind of sparse in there. That's because I've cut back a lot of the leaves that are unnecessary for the plant. I left enough on there that provide energy for the plant to produce fruit, but I don't want the leaves taking the energy. The nutrients that I put in here are these basic it's a easy grow nutrient, which I believe is a 5-5-5. I put it in about once every 7-8 days. The other days I put in water, and it keeps pumping nutrients to the roots of these plants, which will produce more fruit from the flowers. So that's what I have. Again, these are two different varieties of cherry tomatoes. Very easy to do. You can do it in a spare part of your basement or wherever it may be. You need an electronic toothbrush because you need to touch the back of the flower to turn into fruit. But again, so simple. 200 or so just juicy, and I'll see if I can pick one here. There you go. There you go. Just a juicy red tomato. And I gave one to my wife the other day, and she said, wow, unbelievable. Because I'm using this nutrient solution, it's very dense. It gets into the roots on a regular basis. These things are just loaded with sugar. It's like eating little candy gumballs, but they're tomatoes. I would not recommend putting a beefsteak tomato, but focus on small, compact cherry tomato bushes. You can find them any seed supplier, and you go from there. And I did, by the way, start each of these from seed. So that's what I have for you. Good luck. If you have any questions, send me questions. But again, it's not a very cheap alternative, but it is convenient, and it does maximize production. This is Jeff, your executive gardener. I hope you've enjoyed this episode on growing tomatoes indoors.